Dear Recruiter Life Applications Officer, so there's this couple on YouTube. Here's the title name here. I subscribe to their channel because I watch their stuff every day. They're very funny and humorous. It's called The Blonde Brewer. And yes, his wife is very, very pretty. And depending on what she's wearing and how she's smiling and her hair and all like that, she's very beautiful. The thing that I notice here is kind of like watching the Filipina P. When they watch her channel, more women watch her channel. A lot of women watch her channel because she's always throwing something at her husband and hitting him in the head, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, it's a joke, it's a prank. Her husband's always pranking her. A lot of women watch it, but a lot of men watch the show for her. She could do this show without him, and I have a problem with that. They don't. Now, some of the people, whether they be men or women, they always say, oh, you two are the happiest couple. How do you know that? So, how do you know they're even really married in real life? They don't even have, I've been to their channel, I believe. I don't think they have a video about them, how they got together and how they started doing videos and all like that. I don't think they have that. I could check and see again, but what kind of scares me a little bit is that a lot of men come to the channel. I can tell they're men by their comment and their avatar or whatever. They come to the channel for her. The videos are about him and her, not just her. The videos are about him and her. He's the big prankster in the videos. But these men are coming to the channel with their desperate, thirsty selves. And they're only looking at her. And talking about how good she looks and how pretty she looks all the time. And all like this. And what they do to her, what she does to them when she smiles and all this kind of stuff. And it kind of bugs me because he's the lucky guy. If they're really married and they've come up, they, not her, they have come up with this idea of making lovely YouTube videos that make people laugh. It's their, not hers, their idea. It looks like it's his idea. Now the show, as you see, is called The Blonde Brewer. Okay? But they constantly make it about her. And it's something that goes on in our world today. I watched the Filipina P. She's like, to me, the prettiest girl in the Philippines. And she has her own YouTube channel. And I'm putting this on that channel so you know what I'm talking about. Now, one of the things that bugs me again about the Filipina P, to the point where I've gotten bored of watching her, is, number one, they make it about her instead of the content that she's portraying. They make it about her. Because they are under this impression, thanks to the OnlyFans generation, they've come up with this impression that they can rap to her online while she's submitting content. They can rap to her and get her to say, well, hey, I'll let you come on to the set with me. She'll say, hey, I'll let you come on to the set with me, George. Or Adron, I'll let you I'll come and meet you in person, and hey, Mike, next time you're in the Philippines, maybe you and I'll go on a date. And you know what I mean? They have this wishful thinking when she's a young Filipino girl that has a good YouTube channel. Now, the other thing that I don't like about her channel is what she does, knowing that she has a lot of men who are looking at her on a sexual level and getting some kind of thrill watching her perform, or getting some kind of thrill watching her and other girls that she invites on the show talk about certain things. First of all, I've said it before, sex is between a man and his wife. You don't need to talk about sex as part of your video content. Whether you don't get on TV without a man, and say, I love to please my man, after you just got done talking about oral sex. And then you make this video where you're going to America, and you say, oh, well, maybe I'm here to meet somebody. Well, wait a minute, I thought you already had a boyfriend. I thought you already had a boyfriend that was 50-some years old. Me and her boyfriend are supposed to be around the same age. She's in her 30s. I didn't know she was 32. I thought she was younger. Praise God. She's not as young as I thought. Like, okay, thank God we got that out of the way. Okay, but she claims her boyfriend is 54 years old. So I'm like 54, 55? 55. So I'm 2 years older than him. Okay? But she goes to the America and she's like, well, I had to get away from the drama in the Philippines. You know why she had to get away from the drama in the Philippines? Because females in the Philippines are getting mad at her. Because the men, their men, that they date, and they don't need to get mad at her. They need to get mad at the men that are watching. But their men are glued to her. They follow her everywhere she goes on video. And the idea of meeting her in person, their women can go fly a kite. They can stick their head in the toilet. If they get the chance to meet the Filipina P live and close to close, face to face in person, they don't care what their girlfriend does. For that little few minutes that they get to meet the Filipina P, they don't care what their girlfriend does. She can dump them. She can go jump off the bridge. They don't care how she feels about it. Meanwhile, the Filipina P does stuff like get on the show and talk about being a massage therapist. And he's been there going, you know, and she's getting on there talking about, you know, her bikini wardrobe and getting on there talking about, you know, she has one where she pretends to take off her bra, but there's another wore a bikini bra, and there's another bikini bra underneath it. You know, I knew that was, you know, I knew she was going to do that. I knew that was going to be a joke, but her content is not that explicit, but it is sensual. And she loves to talk about things that fornicate her. She wants to get on there and say that she's somewhat of a Christian and all this kind of stuff. But yes, she wants to get on there and talk about, you know, fornication. Like, who cares if you want to please your man in bed by giving him oral sex? That's not what you tell 100 and some, 1,000 and some male subscribers. I want to please my man. Then please your man then. Leave that off. That's between you and him. She's on there with a bunch of other women who are in bikinis in the pool. She's like, oh yeah, I want to please my man. What do you think about oral sex? I want to please my man. Oh, we don't do this. Oh, we don't do that. We don't leave the Philippines. We stay in the Philippines. Now she's leaving the Philippines. You know, which I'm cool with. I think if you're ever going to get married, you cannot say you will not leave the Philippines. That's not marriage material. If your husband is an American and he travels all the way over to the Philippines to meet you and spend time with you, and then he needs to go home, but you want to get married, You got to be a real whore to say, oh, I don't leave the Philippines. Oh, so in other words, you're an escort. You're just service. You're here for the Philippines. You're a product of the Philippines. Come and let's do whatever, including have sex if you want to. Okay, but I don't leave the Philippines. I'll marry you, but I don't leave the Philippines. I don't leave the Philippines. Like, what kind of whore is that? Okay? No, wherever your husband is, that's where you shall be also. I don't care if you crazy enough to date a man from Iraq and then he wants to go back home to Iraq. Guess what, sweetie? You move into Iraq. Now this lovely couple here, I love their channel. I love their content, and they do a lot of good teaching of telling me what not to say to my wife and what to say to my wife, and what not to say to your husband and what to say to your husband, and what to do with your husband and what not to do to your husband, what kind of pranks to play on each other, and whoa, hold up, you know. But I'm sure all this is staged in order for it to be, in order for the two people to prank each other back and forth, it has to be staged. Okay? People don't realize, in closing, just how much YouTube is staged. Okay? Some of these people that you are calling boyfriend and girlfriend, they're not boyfriend and girlfriend, they're not husband and wife, they're actors. Getting together, and making great videos. Okay? Now, I would be very careful depending on how much content that you put on the video, because these people that are getting into your comment section are not only, they're getting, it's like having OnlyFans. They're not happy until they get to that place where they're sleeping with this man's wife, and then they're going to say, oh, thank you to both of them. They're going to say thank you to her for having a good time, and they're going to say thank you to him for pimping his own wife. Because these male fans are, oh, she's so beautiful, and oh, her smile is doing this to me and doing that to me. Dude, imagine what it's doing to her husband. Dude, there's a reason why she's married to him and not you. Okay? And I'm sure if her husband was to look at another blonde or brunette or Asian girl or whatever on YouTube, he's not the kind of person that's sitting there saying, oh, she's so beautiful. Oh, that smile. Oh, you don't know what it does to me. Oh. And I'm sure he's not that kind of person. That's how he ended up with her. Because he was too busy just being a guy who happened to run into a beautiful blonde girl who happened to have connections with her, and when it came down to dating and getting married, she said yes, or he said yes, vice versa. It could have been him that said yes. Okay? And he's a very good looking man, and I'm sure, I've seen men that look like him, and I've seen women that look like her in my real life. This girl right here in the picture, I saw her at Walmart just the other day. I was in Walmart, and I almost ran this woman over who was bending down to pick something, and I stopped and froze. I said, oh, excuse me. And when her beautiful face came up, we both looked at each other like, wow. And so I said, well, Lord Jesus, let me get my eyes off of that. She is very pretty. Let me get my eyes off of that. But she kept looking at me. And so I didn't want her to think that I was trying to flirt with her or whatever. And I didn't want her to think that I was following her. But I was getting something in the same hour. I almost ran into her. And she was watching me. I noticed she kept looking at me in the face. And I'm like, I don't know if to take that as a compliment or to take that as she's scared of me. She doesn't want me to follow her around or whatever. And she kept looking back at me. And then We ran to each other. We rode past each other in the fruit section. She was coming out of the fruit section. I was going past it, and we smiled and we looked at each other. We saw each other again, and we gave each other a fake grin, and we kept moving. You know, but that's how it happens. And she looked just like her. She looked like she could be her sister. She is very pretty. Now this woman had red hair. She's blonde. This woman was a redhead. But she was, in my opinion, she was about the same height as her. She looked like she could be her, you know, identical twin almost. And she was the same height as her, same body fat, you name it, everything, you know. And she's very pretty, you know, like her. Very, very pretty. And to me, I think people need to calm down. You know, and I go to work every day, and there's men who talk about other women like they've never had sex before. Like they don't have a wife at home as we speak. Like their kids or you know, like their kids came out of a test tube or something. Like, dude, you have a loving wife at home who loves you, and she's good to you. She treats you like gold. She goes your way. She does what you want her to do. You know, you're in this wonderful relationship with her. Why do you come to work and talk about women like you're single? Why do you come to work and act like your wife is keeping you from you doing what you want to do with your penis? That really bugs the hell out of me. Like, I have a reason why I'm divorced. And I would rather be, and this goes against the church, but I would rather be divorced than to be with a woman that that I can't help myself with. Like, I can't help looking at another woman. I can't help wanting another woman. I can't help what I'm about to say about this other woman. I can't help flirting with this other woman. I can't help my chances of going to the next level with this other woman. But yet, the only faithfulness that you show to your wife is the fact that that ring is on your finger. But if another woman wants to come around you and flirt with you even though you have that ring on your finger, you don't mind. You don't mind flirting with another woman while you got that ring on your finger. And I'm sure a lot of these men that are looking at the Filipina P and going to her channel, their wives, now the Philippine wives, we know this, are already upset with both their husbands and the Filipina P, but they blame her because she's got it to flaunt it. Instead of blaming him for looking at her content, if he cannot respect her as a lady opposite herself that has her own life, her own boyfriend, her own husband, whatever, her own family, doing what she wants to do, she is just video content. She's not there for you to lust after her. She's not there for you to get a hard on. She's not there for you to try and turn her into a, you know, for you to become one of her OnlyFans. She's not there for you to turn her into a pass-around prostitute. She's not there for men. She's there for the public to show video content that makes people laugh and at the same time explains to them what life is like in the Philippines. But I gotta hand it to you, she does some crazy stuff on her videos. Just like the other day I was watching her and she went to one of the most popular beaches here in America. She didn't want to say what beach because some of the guys that go to that beach every day are her fans. They might be on the beach. Why is she talking about being on the beach? They just didn't see her, that's all. But anyway, she didn't want to give the name of the beach, but she says she was at one of the most popular beaches in America. And so there's people out there, and she's taking pictures of all these married Americans doing things that they never do in the Philippines. That they don't do in the Philippines, okay? But at the end of the video, she goes back to all the guys that she interviewed, and she interviewed mostly guys, and she's like, have you ever been to the Philippines? Have you do you think you would go to Philippines to find love? Do you think that women here compared to women in the Philippines act this way compared to women in the Philippines? And oh, I got then this is what really killed me. She went and took a picture of herself and took it back to the men to see if they would recognize her as the same girl that she, and it was a younger picture of herself. And she went back to saying, oh, would you date this girl? Would you, do you think she's pretty? And I'm thinking, where are you going with this, P? First of all, you're supposed to have a boyfriend. Second of all, is the Philippines up for sale? Like, is it a house of escorts? Like, why are you advertising for Filipino women to get like hitched, to get collected, to get snatched up like they're a den of prostitutes? If a man wants to go to the Philippines, first of all, he doesn't need to go to the Philippines to get women. He can go to the Philippines because he just wants to take a vacation, okay, in a land that was once colonized by Spain, okay, and the beauty of it all, okay? He doesn't even need to go there for the women. And if a man wants to go to the Philippines because he wants to meet women that are non-American, okay, he still don't need your help. Because I find that when women advertise like that, it's all about money. It's not about you as a man. It's all about money. What you have to offer, it's not your body, it's not your libido, it's not your manliness, it's not your masculinity, it's not you being an alpha male, it's not you being anything but a man with money. When they go to flashing their beauty and seeing if they, And don't get me wrong, there's more than one side, but the side that you see on the internet is the whore side. The side that you see on the internet is these women constantly selling themselves because they want your money. They want a visa, they want a green card. And that's what it's about. The women that ain't on the internet all the time, they're sitting back and they're watching everybody and they're hoping one day that the right foreigner will come and take them to America and give her the citizenship as an American that she's been waiting for all her life, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? But to just go out there and attack Americans, throw your beauty and everything up in their face, then they say, when they say, what's your channel name? Oh, it's the Filipina P. They're going to go strolling your channel. Oh, a bunch of women in the pool. They're going to see a bunch of women in the pool talking about oral sex. So I guess the oral sex that you're practicing with your boyfriends is not enough. They want everybody to know that they're okay with oral sex. Like, who cares? Who needs to know this information? Who needs to hear this information? Who needs to know that? Who needs to know this woman in this picture? This lovely blonde in this picture, other than this man's wife. Let me say it again. Who needs to know this woman in the picture as anything other than the man that's always on this channel with her? The fact that that's her husband. That's his wife. It's not for your libido. It's not for you to get a hard on. It's not for you to have fantasies about sleeping with this woman when her husband is right there doing the video with her. Okay? All I hear is about her being so beautiful and so blonde, and she got a nice body, and blah, 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 blah. But the women are keeping it nice and pure. He really did this video perfect. He really deserved a hit in the head for that one, And the women are keeping it within context, where the men are so into OnlyFans, they want to get to the point where every pretty faced woman on YouTube and every form of social media makes them an OnlyFans. They're not going to be happy until they have every woman that ever got on YouTube, every pretty face that ever got on YouTube, until they have her placenta on their pecker. Until there is evidence that they slept with all these women that they love to watch. I can watch her. And when I watch her, you know who gets the credit? He does. Her husband. She doesn't get the credit. He gets the credit. I'm looking at him because he's blessed to have this beautiful woman as his wife. I'm not looking at her and then just laughing at him because he did a good job at being funny with her. I'm looking at him because he has every man's desire to have a beautiful wife. And I'm not jealous of that. God bless this man. God bless his wife. God bless their marriage. But men are so thirsty today. And then they wonder why they get no respect from women. Men are so silly today with the simping and saying, and don't get me wrong, guys at work, we've been talking, and women today are just as goofy. But see, God didn't call the women out of goofiness. He called the man out of goofiness. He called the man to stop being silly and be what he's supposed to be. If men become masculine and alpha and do what they're supposed to be doing, and their relationships with women that they ain't married to anyway are put in their place, in their proper place. You have friends and you have sisters in the Lord if you're a Christian. There is no such thing as a girlfriend. You have lady friends and you have your sisters in the Lord. If every man would put everything back in its context and leave it there, you'd get more pussy. Excuse my French. You would get more pussy when you stop worshiping women. Stop it. It makes you an idiot. It makes you silly. How you going to worship this woman when her husband's standing right next to her? She's not doing these videos by herself. She's doing them with him because she loves him. They got married. Now, maybe she did videos before, and, the channel's in her name. She's the blonde brewer. But he's the lead person in all the videos. He's the leader. He's always the one saying the insults and gets hit with the shoe and all that kind of stuff. And every now and then she'll do one that's even funnier. But it's always about the two of them. It's never about one of them. But yet you got these hard-ons that get on here and they're constantly going after her. Like she's going to just divorce her husband or tell her husband to take a vacation while she gets off the set and goes hunts down all her fans and rides their libido, okay, and then comes back and continues with a big smile on her face. Stop. Stop worshiping things that ain't yours. Stop worshiping things that are given to all of us, not just this man. You can go get yourself a beautiful blonde just like he found himself a beautiful blonde. If not, maybe you need to fall for a beautiful brunette. Maybe you need to fall for a beautiful Asian woman. Maybe you need to fall for a woman that's got a little bit more weight on her bones. Or maybe you need to fall for a woman that's a little bit more skinnier. But everybody deserves love, not just people on YouTube. Everybody deserves love, not just women who don't mind, wearing their short skirts and their little cleavage worn blouses. Everybody deserves love. And everybody deserves, if they put their hand in marriage to somebody, they deserve to be loved forever by that person, whether they're male or female, without interruption, without infidelity, without you cheating, without you flirting or being unfaithful to them in any way behind their back. I'm tired of going to work every day hearing married men talk about every other woman in the building except his own wife. I'm tired of men getting on here and talking about married women. I'm tired of men getting on here and talking about women who everybody knows she's a whore. There's no room for you in her whorehouse. She got enough STDs. She doesn't need one more. It's television. It's YouTube. It's social media. Some people really need to fast off of social media. They need to go do something with themselves. I felt that way about a girl years ago. I watched a video of a guy in Florida. And I was on there. It had something to do with the ukulele. And somehow I ended up, this couple lives in this beautiful, beautiful neighborhood in Florida. And his wife, because they live in Florida, she's always half naked everywhere they go. And they go out to parties where she puts a little wee bit more clothes on. But, you know, to me, I would have to tell my wife, no, we're not doing a video. I know this is Florida, but we're not doing it. You have nothing on. We're not doing videos like this, babe. It's hard enough that they get to see you in your bikini because we're on the beach all the time. They don't need to see you walking around my house with no clothes on. So, but this woman in every single video, except for when they go out to the restaurants and that's a real treat. This woman is barefooted, bikini, just doing gorgeous, just making her, you know, and her husband or whoever's filming is just, you know, he's basically pornographic. His wife, like, he's showing you all her goodies. He's showing you how good her butt looks in that bikini over and over again. He's showing you how good her cleavage looks in that bikini over and over again. And she's talking to him, and he's filming her like he's filming a porn star. And she walks around like this for a solid hour and some minutes, almost 2 hours of video footage. And he's got the camera going to every angle of her body, close-ups and all like that. And I don't know, again, I believe some of this stuff is staged. These people aren't even married at all. They're just posers acting like, you know, because they're doing this content. But and it's working. It's making money. It's making money for both of them, and it's a business, you know. Just like two people doing porn, you know, doing a porn video together. They have nothing to do with each other. Once the man says cut, she goes this way and he goes that way, and they don't see each other until they get called to work together again, you know. All right, and I've heard of video footage where people have said that they found out that this couple and this couple were not married. They were just actors, you know, doing funny videos together. None of the pranksters were married. Okay, they were all just, you know, actors. And they're all, you know, making this video together, and if they get any money out of it, they're all getting paid, okay? But we need to get America back to strong men who want the best that God has to give them. The best that God has to give you, first of all, isn't a woman. The best that God can God give you is definitely not a woman that's cheating on her husband with you. Definitely not a whore. Okay? The best that God can give you is a ministry. And with that ministry, usually the wife comes with the territory. With that ministry, money comes with the territory. With that ministry, having good friends and people that protect you and got your back and good business deals and all like that comes with the territory. But you got to be You got to stop being such a goddamn pervert about everything. You can't put your penis in everything and everybody. You got to separate one thing from another. Save the sexual action and the sexual comments when you get your own blonde that you're happily married to, and you and her are doing your own little prankster videos or whatever. But whatever the case, it's just crazy how, like, you know what, if I was in their shoes, and let's say me and my beautiful wife, whether she be black or Filipino or white or whatever, okay, and there's a lot of couples doing this stuff, and pretty soon when they break up, they're really going to break up, but they're doing this stuff, and they're exploiting each other. You know, she's exploiting him and he's exploiting her, okay, and they seem like such a wonderful couple, you know, but if it were me, I couldn't do it. I would be like, honey, let's do videos where you and I are always loving each other, and we invite our people to go with us when we go on our trip this weekend. We invite people to go to church with us. We invite people to go to, okay, well, everybody else at the beach is seen in their bikini. I guess it's okay if my wife gets caught in her bikini. Okay, we'll do a couple minutes of bikini time, okay, and us chatting while you're in your bikini, and let's us going sightseeing on the beach, on the boardwalk while you're in your bikini, okay. And then, okay, that's enough bikini footage. Let's put our clothes back on and look at some other things and do some other things and talk about some other things, because I'm not here to prostitute my wife. I'm not here to exploit my wife. I'm here to encourage you to look for happiness by me and my wife, inviting you to go on tour with me and my wife and show you what makes us happy, what keeps us romantic, and the good times that we've been having, the good things that God has been doing with us. Okay, and that's how it's done. But there is no woman out there worthy of exploitation. There is no woman out there worthy of being, you know, wanting to separate her from her husband for my own libido. There is no woman out there worthy of any of that. There is no woman out there worthy of my depression, worthy of my lack of confidence, worthy of anything other than her relationship with God and her relationship with thy husband. Okay? Other than that, I really don't care. I really don't care. I support married couples, and if they're comedians and they're a married couple duo comedian set, that's fantastic. That's awesome. But you don't get to exploit him, ladies, and men, you don't get to exploit his wife. You don't get to exploit squash. You don't get to exploit anything. You get to watch and you get to laugh and you get to say, good job, such a beautiful couple, keep up the good works. That's what you get to do. You don't get to spend every single video talking about how beautiful she is and, oh, her beauty just, I'm just melting. I'm just, you know, Stop it. Just stop. Okay? But I love this couple. I love their video footage. It's funny. It makes my day when I watch it. Some of it's funny. Some of it, like, I caught on to it, but when I caught on to it, I wasn't impressed. But most of it, it's funny. Okay? Is she pretty? Yeah, she's very pretty. But is it my job to tell her she's pretty every day? What's the point of having a husband if it's 100 men's job to tell your wife that she's pretty every day? That's your job, to tell your wife that she's pretty. Not my job. Not my job to, you know what I mean? It's not my job to make your wife feel like she's not fat. To feel like she looks good in those jeans, or she feels like her hair is done right. You know what I'm saying? I see a pretty woman, and that's where it ends. I see a very attractive woman, that's where it ends. But it's your job, men, to tell your wife, hey, baby, every day, you're pretty. You love social media that much, get on your phone and text her and say, oh, did I forget to tell you, sweetheart, how beautiful you look today? But don't do this to another man's wife. Don't do this to some total stranger that has nothing to do with you. And don't do this day in and day after. The same people trying to tell this man's wife, like, what, you don't think her husband tells her that she's pretty? How do you know that? You don't know that. He probably tells her she's beauty 20 times a day. He probably says, come here, beautiful, sit on my lap. Come here, beautiful, let's watch TV. Come here, beautiful, let's go to McDonald's. Come here, beautiful, let's go here, let's go there. Hey, let's wear that lovely outfit that I love to see you in. Yeah, that's the one. But no. You know, I see men. I told you a video about a man, a good friend of mine. There's a woman that died. She was a good friend of ours. And when she first started working at that job, me and her almost went out, but then I got cold feet because I'm a born-again Christian, and she seemed like she was having some urban issues that I didn't want to get myself tangled in. But nevertheless, we were always good friends, and I knew that when she was taking a ride from an older man from work every day because she didn't want to walk all the way to the bus stop, and her son couldn't come pick her up every day. He could come pick her up sometimes, but not every day because he worked himself, and he didn't work the same schedule all the time. So he usually worked overtime, you know. But he'd be glad to pick her up if he was getting off at work at that time. But she started getting a ride with this big guy. And I told both of them. I told him, you're a married man, you need to be careful about that, bro. You know. And he gonna tell me, you know. I says, do you tell your wife when you leave work that you're taking so-and-so home every night? She knows I'm doing something. I tell her like this, I'm taking my friends. Oh yeah, but you tell her that your friend is a female, not to mention that you have a crush on. Did you tell your wife that your friend that you're bringing home from work every day, that's why you're getting home late, is a female that you have a crush on? Did you tell your wife that? No, you didn't. So at her funeral, he mentioned her name again. When this woman died, this woman's younger than both of us. I could have went out with her if I wanted to, but I could have went out with several women at my old job if I wanted to. But there's things like, you know how I am about black women. There's certain things I don't want to entangle myself in. Okay. And when there's more going on than just you being a pretty lady that's living your own life, if I got to deal with your urban, you know, black community nonsense, we don't have a go. I can't do nothing with that, okay? I'm going the other way. But she was a nice girl. She's a pretty girl. You know what I mean? But this guy, not only was he way outside under her league, nowhere near her league. He was just a guy who she treated nice, and he was giving her rides home from work. Telling his wife that, oh, he's got to take a couple guys. He was carpooling some people home from work. You know, a bunch of guys taking them home from work. He dare not tell his wife that Buttercup. He had to take Buttercup. That was his nickname for her. Buttercup. He had to take his Buttercup. Not just Buttercup, his Buttercup. He had to take his Buttercup. He had to give his Buttercup a ride home. And I says to her when the girl died, I says to him when the girl died, I said, did you take your wife to the funeral with you? Did you take your wife to the casket and put your hand in the casket on her hands and say, oh, I'm going to miss you, Buttercup? Your wife would have slapped you so hard she'd have pulled her out of the casket and put you in there. Don't tell me that when you and your wife talk about her, you call her Buttercup. Don't tell me that your wife even knows you know this girl. Buttercup. And then when I told him about it, he was like, man, you're taking things too seriously, blah, 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 blah. I says, Griff, I'm going to ask you again. Did you tell your wife that you had to go to Buttercup's funeral because that's your Buttercup? And I talked to Buttercup. And I was teasing her one day. I says, well, you know he going to give you a ride home because you his Buttercup. She said, I wish he'd stop calling me that. I ain't nobody's Buttercup. I says, I knew that, okay? But yet he kept on calling her Buttercup. Oh, you know you my Buttercup. Okay. I told him, I says, you calling her Buttercup, there must have been about 3 of us on the job that she was willing to go out with. You were not number 4. She was never ever considering even going out with you. What a married man. The 3 men that she was thinking about going out with her are actually single. She did go out with one of us. The other 2 bounced out. Me and another dude, we bounced out at the last minute. She did go out with the one dude, and he was, you think she would want, you know, he was younger than her, but he was young in a very immature way, so she let him go. You know, and then the other dude, another dude that she was trying to go out with, his woman came to the job and they're out front arguing. She said, well, I'm not getting in the middle of that. And then me, I was supposed to ask her out. She was expecting me to ask her out because a friend of mine was trying to hook us up. Hey, she likes short men. You heard what she said. She said it right in front of you. She said, I like short men. I said, well, that's not a reason for me to ask her out. You know what I mean? I'm not all hung do, you know, for women that like short men. There's a lot of witches, okay, out there that like short men. I'm not impressed. Okay, but we did become friends, and I think we were good friends because we left that out. We didn't go to that place, okay? If I had went to that place, it would have been a mess. Neither did I know that she was going to get so sick that she was going to die, you know. And she was only in her late 40s. And she had a problem with her lungs. Nowhere near the problem that I'm having with mine. But yet, like I said in the last video, God took her out of here just like that. But rest in peace, Tracy. That was her real name, Tracy. Rest in peace, my sister. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. I love you. I miss you. And I pray that you did know the Lord and that you are in glory with Him. But Buttercup had no business being in the mix. There's no Buttercup here. Okay? There's no Buttercup. And when she died, she had a boyfriend. She did have a boyfriend. Now, she didn't meet her boyfriend on the job like she almost did, but she had a boyfriend when she died. And she told me right before I had quit that job and moved to where I'm working at now, she did tell me that there was a we. And I said, you said we. Who's we? She says, oh, yeah, him. And I'm like, you can call him boyfriend if you want to. You ain't got to be ashamed to call you. I said, so you got, she said, yeah, something like that. I'm thinking, I hope you ain't just sleeping around with somebody. Is he your boyfriend? Is he the man? Or is somebody, do I hear wedding bells? What's going on? You know. She said, I'm seeing somebody. I says, okay. I guess that's good enough. That's another relationship that confuses me. Like, you seeing somebody, but you don't want to give them a title. They're not a boyfriend. They're not a fiance. They're just somebody you seeing. I guess they're friends with benefits. You have boyfriends and girlfriends, and then you have friends with benefits. Somebody else said that to me the other day. There ain't nothing wrong with having friends with benefits. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Anyway, I'm closing. Shout out to the blonde brewer and her husband. 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 How much you want to bet their married name is Brewer? She's blonde, and she married a dude whose last name is Brewer. I bet you his last name is Brewer. That's how they came up with his channel name. The Blonde Brewer. I bet you his last name is Brewer. I bet you her last name, her married name is Brewer. But anyway, shout out to them and the good work that they do on this channel, regardless of all the perverts that come around with a heart on, you know, trying to separate, they just, you know. The Filipina P, Mike's Journey did a video about the Filipina P, where these two guys who were racists, they were KKK members, and one of them was blind. Was he blind? Yeah, he was blind. I think he was blind. Either he was partially blind or he was blind. He had the hots for the Filipina P. So the other guy told him what the Filipina P looked like. And they were saying racist stuff to the Filipina P, but at the same time, they was trying to meet the Filipina P close and personal. This poor girl was running for her life. What I wanna meet a couple Klans members for? You know. But this is how sick men get with their libido. They did this back in the days of slavery. Not only white slavery versus, not only black on white, but, you know, Spain colonizing, you know, the Philippines and other Asian nations taking over others, and you know, white people getting, you know, their farmlands getting attacked in Africa and all like this. When white people come under the mercy of African people and all like that. Oh, I thought these Africans only kept it in their race. Not when white people are at their mercy, they don't. Same thing is true for black folks. You'll find out what your preference is. What your real preference is when somebody else's race is under your mercy. So nobody is strictly attracted to white women. We know this from slavery all over the world. Nobody is strictly attracted to white women. Nobody is strictly attracted to Asian women. Nobody is strictly attracted to black women. White women, African women. And nobody is strictly attracted to anything in the race, because why? They look like our sisters. They look like, you know. How can a white man be attracted to a white woman when he has a beautiful sister? And how can a white woman be attracted to a white man when she has beautiful brothers? Beautiful, handsome, well-to-do brothers. Okay? Everybody is looking outside their race. I'm just throwing that in there. Everybody looks outside their race. Your ultimate fantasy, connecting that with your ultimate wish, is probably outside your race. You want to turn a white woman into Black Lives Matter. You want to turn Asian women into Black Lives Matter. You know, I like them raw. I don't like them cooked. I like them raw. I like them raw Asian, raw white, whatever. I like them to be raw because they taste better that way. And I'm not being perverted. I'm saying that when we mix our cultures together, she tastes better that way than me going to the ghetto, down the ghetto, to find me a white woman that acts black. No, I like them raw. And I'm not looking for an Asian woman that acts black. I like them raw, if you understand what I'm saying. But I don't like another man's wife. Okay? And I don't like a woman who is desperate and willing to date anybody. I don't want to be in that pickle because that makes me anybody. I don't want to be anybody. I want to be DeRoy Cruz. This woman is not anybody. She is Mr. Brewer's wife. Who's about to punch you in the face if he sees you in real life. My fan. What you say about my wife on the internet? What did you say about my wife and your libido? Keep it to yourself. Keep it off my channel at least. At least have the courtesy to keep it off my channel. I am DeRoy Cruz. I am your life applications officer. I'm done. Time to take a shower, iron my clothes, get ready to go to bed so I can go to work tonight. I will maybe talk to you tomorrow. God bless.